Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Varun. Some of you guys might know me from Instagram. And for those of you who don't, quick introduction. I've been running a creative agency with my co-founder for the past 3 years called Kyte. We're at around $30,000 to $35,000 right now per month. And things have been going well and it's been a while and I think it's time to start YouTube. This video is solely like an introduction. I want to talk a little bit about what we've done, why we did it, and where we see ourselves headed in the future, while answering some of the biggest questions people have when they start out or when they've just started out. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So why we started Kyte? Both of us, me and my co-founder Vedant, we were interning at different agencies. I was interning remotely at this agency that was based in Dallas, and they would do B2B lead generation. I did the graphics for them, but it was a lot of grunt work, and I did learn a lot, not in terms of design, but in terms of how teams worked. We were working US timings. I was really excited because that was the first time I was getting paid like $100 a month, which at the time I thought was cool. I could buy myself like a pair of shoes and I would get pizza every weekend. So that was exciting. So that's how it started. I did that for 3 months, left it. At the same time, my co-founder was going through similar things at another agency that he was based in Bombay. I think he was having a much better experience though. It's just, I think over time you get overworked and you're not working for your own thing, and that really got to us. So it was around Jan 2023. It was Jan 2023. It was the time of his thesis. He was in 4th year at the time. We were in design college. It was pretty freeing to do whatever we wanted to do. So we just had to start a business, and that's what he did. We started Kyte. It was supposed to be his thesis. And we started off with our first client, which was his ex-internship, the internship before. It was for a legal contract management service. And he just went to these guys and he was like, hey, I've just started it. Is it cool if I work with you guys? Is it cool? Any service. So I think initially we started off doing literally everything and anything under the sun. So we worked on their website, we worked on their LinkedIn, we would act as spies and get on discovery calls with their competitors to really understand what their brands are doing. Weird shit like that. And when you first start, you start off with working with people who are what you call FFF, right? Friends and family. And we exhausted that, but I'll come to that in a bit. We are not from a business background, and I think a lot of people have this problem, especially we did, because we don't have a network, right? Both our parents are academics, so we didn't know a lot of people who were running business. So we had to run to people and be like, hey, we're doing this. It's another service, another agency-based business. Can we work with you? We're also like 18 at the time. Surely enough, after a lot of trying, we got a couple of his family friends in the US, in Houston. He was raised in Houston. So we got this pickle company and we got this jewelry company. And all of these ticket sizes, by the way, were like 20,000 rupees, 15,000 rupees. That's how we started, right, per month. And you could call it an agency, sure, but it was just a team of like 2 people. We soon enough got another person as well, but it was just an excuse to call ourselves an agency. It was just a small team of freelancers. And I think that's how it just started. The important point to note here is we stuck to it, right? In terms of scale and money, we were paying these guys, these other teammates, like 3,000 to 5,000 rupees per month. And that's it. And I think a lot of people starting out, especially in India, they just get paid this much, which to me is pretty much abuse, considering that I still earn much, much less than these bigger corporations, and these guys still pay students this much. I think it's pretty sad. We do have one motto we do follow. We didn't have to do this. We did this because we wanted to. We do come from pretty good backgrounds. So it wasn't always just for the money. And that's what we always kept in mind. We wanted to be known for good work. So do good work and good work will follow. And in the end, you will get good money. So initially when we did start, we didn't stick ourselves to one particular niche. And I think this applies to a lot of people and just in general in life. Especially when you're young, you don't know what you're good at. You haven't tried everything. You've not lived that long. I'm still 22 years old. There's still so much to do in life. And I think we applied that to the company as well. The only thing that was constant were our skills. Both of us were graphic designers, UI, UX designers. Pretty mid at all these skills, but it's just that we knew a bit about a lot of things. We stuck with that for the agency as well, essentially. That's what I'm trying to say. We didn't go to people and we weren't like, hey, we do only lead generation. We do only UI, UX. We only work on content. And a lot of people are going to disagree with me here. In fact, a lot of people you see online are going to be like niche down and you make money faster and you scale faster, which is very, very true. But I was not in a rush for money and we just wanted to see what fits us best, right? So today we're still at a stage where we have 3 core services, but back in the day, we were doing literally everything. We've tried performance marketing, which we sucked at. We've tried SEO, we've tried organic content, we've tried graphic design, we've tried lead generation, everything under the sun. So some of the learnings and the biggest mistakes I've had, I've just put them up here. You can take a look. I'm not addressing all of them here, but I'm addressing some of the major ones. Firstly, I want to start with pricing. I think a lot of people that get into this, obviously we get into business to make a lot of money, But like I said, if you have no network and if you're just starting out, there's no reason for anyone to pay you without any proof of work. So when you jump in and you start quoting ridiculous prices, it's just not going to work out, right? Because you're not going to be able to match those results. We started off, again, like I said, 20,000 rupees, which is barely anything. And when you're starting off as a student, you think that's good money, and it is pretty good money. But then you slowly learn, because you talk to other agency owners, you talk to bigger businesses. Sometimes you pitch to businesses and they're like, hey, this price is way too low. These guys clearly don't know what they're talking about. I remember once, actually very recently, we pitched to a pretty big brand that I'm sure you guys have all seen around, and they wanted a videography gig. And I quoted them around $4,000, and they came back to me and the POC was like, yo, this is too low. Are you sure? I'll put in a good word for you, but this is way too low. Then I quoted him $10,000 and he was like, okay, yeah, now we can take this forward. So sometimes companies reject you because they just take a look at your code. So that's one thing. And you learn that over time. Pricing, I think, is very subjective, especially in the service industry. It really depends on who you are and what your team is capable of and what you've done before. So before you've come to even answering these questions, just focus on doing good work. Don't worry about pricing at all. The next lesson is to not take on too many clients, but at the same time not have too less. And it's all about balance. Because if you have too many clients, then it's very, very hard to manage. This is what we faced with initially. We had like 15, 20 clients, and I would go to people and be like, hey, I have 15, 20 clients. People are like, whoa, but that's not a good thing. You would rather have 5 to 7 really good paying clients and just scale these kind of clients in terms of price. Because if you have 1 or 2 clients or like really few clients, then you're depending on few clients for money. And if 1 or 2 of these guys fall off, then your entire company falls off, right? So you got to make sure you have a good balance where you can still keep the company afloat if a company fires you, if anything bad happens. And on the other hand, you don't want to have too many, man, because you're just burning money. You're scaling horizontally and there's no vertical scaling. Now I want to talk about something that a lot of agency people are going to face and talk about, especially in the Indian ecosystem, which is, do you have to go outside the country for money? And we've worked with both brands inside the country and outside the country. We've worked with a lot of brands, especially in Europe and Germany. We worked with companies in US. But to be honest, our focus has been completely in India. And that's not because we've had the choice, because we're just bad at outreach, right? We've only recently gotten good at that. And a lot of people think Indians don't have money. I'll tell you what Indians don't have is a good sense of respect and work ethic, right? We work like dogs, but you're not going to get respected and paid for it. But that doesn't mean India doesn't have money. There are amazing brands in the country. You can find good clients. One of the biggest breaks we've got was a client we had from Delhi, and they were amazing. They paid us well. We've learned so much from them. They sort of turned into a mentor for us. That's a misconception. You don't always have to go outside. You can try and help the country from within, and then of course go outside. No one's going to stop you. Another big lesson we've learned is hiring without due diligence. Sometimes you think you've hired the right person, but you've not done enough research. I've talked about this before on my Instagram as well, but there was this interesting case where we needed someone for a Wix website. Pretty big website, pretty big project. We were ready to dish out a lot of money for a freelancer. Guy comes in, we see his email, we trust his work. I had an apprehension, my partner's not gonna agree on this, but I've told these guys, bro, this guy seems dodgy, seems fishy, seems like he doesn't know what he's talking about. And obviously it's a team decision at the end, but the lesson we learn is we really need to know who we bring in the team and who you're working with. Because a lot of these guys lie to get in, and half of sales is pretty much just lying, honestly. And that guy really screwed us over. Internally, luckily the client had no sign of it. We got the project sorted by ourselves. And that leads me on to my next point. Whatever service you offer, you have to be able to do it as a founder. If tomorrow someone in my agency can't edit a video, it's not available, or if someone's not able to write some content, or someone's not able to do some motion graphics, I know for a fact me and my co-founder can sit down and we'll figure it out. Right? We can do it. We have these basic skills. In fact, we were all designers, so we're more than happy to do it. But you got to make sure you can do it, because if that's not going to happen, in the end, the biggest thing is keeping the client and making sure the deliverable is there on their table. Next is to not work in the business and on the business. So this might contradict the last point as I said, but the last point I said was an extreme case when you really have to. And what this means by not working in the business and on the business is to not work internally. Like, you shouldn't be there as much as an intern calls. You just set up a system where you are away from it and your company still functions. That's what an actual company is, right? It's not when you're sitting and editing videos. You should be, as a founder, more focused on networking, going to events, maybe closing new deals, and just growing the company as a whole, but not be involved in the day-to-day activities. And that is going to be a lot of the case when you just start out, but eventually over time you have to remove yourself from the internal team and step away. And lastly, I want to talk about how important your network is. I think for me, this is the biggest point personally. This is when we had a big break. It's when I started posting content on my Instagram. Like I said, no business background, we have nowhere to reach out to. We got really desperate and we're like, what do we do? So I took a shot and I posted a video, and I got very lucky, and my first video went viral. And I've met a lot of people just through this, and I can tell you, a lot of the times it's all about a network. I can go with the same service, same offer to two different guys, and depending on who they are, I'm going to charge a guy $10,000, I'm going to charge another guy $1,000. It's really on who you're talking to. Now I want to come to how we actually do hire. Like I said, we are from a design background, design college, so we did have a big network and a really good network of creators and designers. So we did tap into our existing WhatsApp groups, freelance groups, friends, and we work a lot with our friends actually. People say don't do that, but I think it's the best thing you can do, honestly. As long as you communicate well, they're your friends, man. You're gonna grow each other, and everyone's gonna become insane, pretty much. And after a point, we did run out of these contacts, and we need to get really skilled people. So how we hire after I start posting content, especially, is I would just put out these stories. A lot of people want to work, especially seeing the good work we do. So we get a lot of leads, and we just classify them. I just take a form input, and as you can see here, I have like around 600, 700 all over India, some from even outside, for all sorts of creative roles. And I reach out to these guys whenever required. Of course, we need fresh new leads coming in. At the time of the requirement, a lot of the people that have already filled the form are probably not going to be available. Prices would have changed, stuff like that. So it's important to keep that updated. And after a point, you're going to realize that you're not going to get these guys on Instagram. So you need to know people. You're not going to get these guys filling out a form. They're going to be really skilled people that you're going to have to poach or steal. But that comes at a later stage. Coming to how the team is structured and how it operates right now, it's pretty much very simple. We have two clusters. We have a UI UX cluster and we have a comms cluster, and we have two syncs. So one is at 10 in the morning and one is at 6. We don't work after that. We don't believe in this hard fucking hustle culture. Sure, you can grow faster, but we believe in living lives as well. Like I said, we're not so money hungry that we lose ourselves in the process. All of us have personal goals. I love playing football. I like going to the gym. I love having some fun once in a while. So it doesn't make sense to work 24/7. Initially, that's not going to be the case. So if you're just starting out, then yeah, your whole life is going to be on this. I remember when I first started, we were probably working 12 to 14-hour days every day for like a year at least, before we got to a point where we can do this. And it's still a very consistent process. I don't think I've not worked in the past 3 years. I've worked every day, except days when I'm sick and I absolutely can't. Otherwise, you have to work every day. But it does generally get easier and more relaxed because you can choose to do that. If you want to increase the pace, that's all on you. But we believe in a healthy lifestyle. Now, coming to another important aspect is keeping the team. Now, we have around 15 to 20 people on a team, including people full-time and freelancers as well. And an important point to note is we don't work with college people anymore, or we try to reduce that as much as possible. Some of the best talent you'll see, especially when you're starting out, in terms of both skill and price, are students from college. Because a lot of the video editors, for example, nowadays, they don't care about college, right? They're also relatively cheaper and they want to hustle, they have good work. You can pay them anywhere between 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees and you'll get a really, really solid guy. They're also happy because earning that kind of money is really good for a college kid, and they're not even going to get that once they get placed anyways. So they're happy to take it, and you can grow them from there. Important point to note is keeping this team, right? A lot of people are very money hungry. They won't have the same outlook in life that you do as a founder, and you want to keep these guys when you find these guys, and it's important, and you want to make them feel like they're heard and they're important, which they are. So you can't act like a dickhead, pretty much. I feel like a lot of agency, a lot of founders, they don't respect their team enough. In the end, all of us are living and going through this life together. For example, like I said, we don't have our team members working beyond a certain point of time. Of course, there are people, like I work like throughout the day. Sometimes I have to take calls very late at night, 10, 11. But if my teammate says no, we're never going to force them, right? Unless it's deliverables that they're promised they're supposed to do, we're never going to force these guys, right? If there's any sort of comms issue, we encourage them to tell them, bring it up. You know, we try to solve it then and there. And we always put our team first over the client. I don't care if my team has made a mistake. My team is more important to me than any money coming in. Sure, maybe I'll give them a talk or two if they did make a mistake, but I'd rather have my team than the client themselves. Since we're working remote right now, we do have these team Thursdays where we try and give these master classes from the core team members to the rest of the team so everyone can learn and we can all talk to each other. Since it's all remote, it is hard to have that sort of motion going, but it's important to do the best you can online. Another thing to keep the creative juices flowing is you make sure all team members are aware of what is going on in each project, at a surface level at least. Good for two things. One is the editors, the copywriters, they don't get bored staying on the same project. Second is, in case someone is sick, not available, there's an urgent basis, the dude's just sleeping, then you have to have someone else on it, and that's when it's important. And you save time, you don't waste time on explaining a brief and whatnot, because they already know what the project is. Coming to sales and outreach, this is by far one of the biggest problems I'm still facing. And at the end of the day, it's all sales as a founder for an agency, whatever, even if it's a product, right? It's all sales. How do you reach and get the right people and get more money? I've tried all sorts of ways. I think the best thing that's worked for me are inbound leads through my content, but that can just keep getting better and better. We definitely have to get someone for outreach. It's a balance of both at the end of the day. I do personally outreach sometimes when I see a brand that I like. I've tried this twice where I've set up automations using email. I've had someone specifically come for sales. That really hasn't worked out the best for me. I think as of 2026, it's dead to do these automations, sending out email blasts of like 1,000, 2,000. I don't think that works at all. You have to have hyper-personalized messages, either on LinkedIn or an email, and I almost always get a response. It's really important to understand the brand, see what their pain points are, see how have you solved it for other brands in the similar space, and just tell them that. That's it. Now, a lot of people around you might be seeing them getting really good at sales and really fast in generating and increasing the revenue. Everyone is different. Everyone has their own time. Do not compare yourselves, right? Just make sure you're steady, you're doing it every day, you're consistent, and you're doing good work, and good work will automatically come your way. So where are we today? As a team, we have around 20 people in a team, including freelance and full-time. We offer 3 core services. The first being UI UX, no code web and app development. So app dev, only design, we don't do the development. We are either partner in-house with the in-house team, or we get a partner to develop, and we keep that very open with the client. And otherwise, we build a lot of no-code websites, either on Framer, Webflow, Wix, or e-commerce on Shopify, of course. The second service is organic content. Initially, it just started with me posting content, and then we applied those principles to different brands, and it really worked out. There are brands you can, of course, check out on our website. We've got millions of views just organically. And the last service is brand identity and brand design. This is something where we did start off long ago, but we don't have a lot of work in it. But recently we've got really, really good work in it. We've got some great designers, and I can't wait to show that off whenever that's ready. Where do we see this is going? Honestly, I don't have a definitive answer to that. Pretty glad with how it's going till now. Of course, we're pretty young, we're making a good amount of money, we get to travel a lot of places, we're doing a lot of good work as well, and it's our own thing at the end of the day, and I think that's the most important thing. We're getting an office very soon, and we want to be known as one of the best organic marketing teams in the country. I think storytelling is a strong suit. Everything else is just a medium. We tell great stories, and we want to tell the stories for other people, essentially. That's pretty much it. And on the way, we want to get more money. Unfortunately, I'm still a very materialistic dude, unlike my co-founder. So I still want to get some fancy cars and shit like that. So if you watched this video all the way till here, you can drop any questions you have, anything you'd want me to answer. Maybe we can do a part 2 of this, where I'm taking you guys through different problems you might be facing. Stay tuned. I'm trying to upload once a week, hopefully, like a 10-minute video to keep you guys up to date with what we're doing. And thanks for joining again. See you soon.